All right, welcome back, mere mortalites, to another edition of Musings. Yes, you are. Do not adjust your headsets or the video that you're watching right now. It is I, Juan, back once again into the mere mortal fold. It is the 17th of May, 2023, and we've got Musings. So, look, Karen's been holding down the fort for a little while, so you got Karen on the other end.
Yeah, Karen here, definitely
Juan,
still here.
Definitely still here. He's been powering along with the mere mortals now for the last couple of weeks while I've been away. And I was going to say, kind of chilling out. Not really. It hasn't been so much as you'd imagine. However, there've been some things which have been pretty cool. So I wanted to, for today's musings, really just start talking about the realities of becoming a dad. Obviously, makes sense. Just became a dad. Or 5th of May. So it's been 12 days now since, I transitioned from being, normal Papa Daddy Juan to, bona fide dad here in the mere mortals. And we got a little mere mortalite who's joined us. And so
little, she wasn't so little.
Well, she wasn't so little. And we knew that she was
we want
sizable.
a name as well, Juan. Everyone's clamoring out for a name, which I refuse to give.
I got to call it out. So it's Vienna.
Vienna.
So yes, she when she was born, we had an idea that she was sizable, kind of, but yeah, man, she came out like chunky. Like she came out, I would have imagined like a little bit of quads, a little bit of arms going to her. For those on the imperial system, just shy of 9 pounds, and pretty long as well. So she was a big girl. She was a pretty big girl. So, and look, I'll get into some of the detail into that today. So what I was thinking about, this might not be a super long musings, but I wanted to kind of share some of the realities of becoming a dad, especially my expectations versus what it is now. So, I mean, that's going to be a key thing. And I don't know, from your side, I was probably thinking,
I got a couple of
go
questions.
on ahead and ask the questions as well. Yeah, anything that we want to sort of like fire through. So let me get started on the biggest one that was going to be on my mind, right? Sleeping. So I'll let you actually think this through. What do you think my sleep has looked like this month? So the month of May. And again, baby was born on the 5th of May. So there was obviously precursor things before that. Would you have foreseen that my sleep is getting worse, better, about the same? If you were to look at the numbers. And I do have some numbers, but I'll go off the top of my head.
I would have said you're probably getting less and it's more interrupted. But it could be one of those ones where it's also not impacting you as much as perhaps it's impacting your partner because she's the one who has to kind of get up and feed the baby and whatnot. So I would have said lessened, but maybe not crazy much. It's only been 12 days.
Hey, it's a good call. Look, my expectation was I already, for the mere mortals at home, you probably know I don't sleep all that often. Like I don't sleep that much. If I would say who sleeps more, Karen or me, Karen sleeps more.
Yeah, definitely.
In generality. Dude, I've been sleeping more.
Okay.
I've been sleeping more since the baby's been here than otherwise. Now, some numbers for you. Previous month or the month before, on average, I was sleeping about 6 hours and 50 minutes, 6 hours and 55 minutes over those months. But our time in bed was around 7.5 hours. Now, roughly, it's time in bed is 8 hours and 15 minutes. So I'm in bed for 45 more minutes, but I'm sleeping for about 7 hours and 5 minutes on average. So you can technically say I'm sleeping more on average, but it is at the offset at, yes, I am having way more broken sleep. And I'll give you a little story. So first of all, this is my first learning. Dude, sleep routine and routines in general are so goddamn important. So we've had, ever since we sort of like came back from the hospital every single day, it was been pretty good from a nighttime perspective. Sleeping's been kind of well in a slight routine, but one day, Saturday to be precise, we just didn't do the routine that we were normally going to do, right? We didn't do particular nappy time. We didn't do tummy time. We didn't do bath in a particular order. We just thought, cool, whatever. That particular night, I ended up staying up so I kind of got a little bit of sleep before 10 p.m. and then up until 2 in the morning with her until she kind of just like petered herself out of energy and actually got herself to bed. So the biggest piece there for me learning was, okay, man, it is so super important for a sleep routine, especially with a baby, especially. But I'm actually not too dissatisfied with my sleeping.
Yeah, nice.
So, overall, I was kind of like, that's
Do you reckon
fine.
it's just because you're not working as well, so you're kind of getting naps during the day?
Well,
Or
here's the other one, right? So with the I thought this too. I thought, I'll have to have the naps, and they always say sleep when the baby's sleeping, and I think this is true in general if they're sleeping pretty badly at night. That Saturday that she slept terribly, I wasn't good the next day, right? I like slept in quite a bit, but to your point about work, I've actually started working already
yeah, okay,
this
yeah,
week.
there you go.
So not full time. So I'm still working part time, and I'm working basically 7 in the morning till midday, right, from home. So it's quite easy to do. But no, it hasn't so much been affecting it that way. And even so, here's the next little piece: training. If I had to have said myself, what's the expectation of my training and becoming a dad? Now, again, let me lay the foundation for people. I love to train. I was training like an hour and a half. I was saying to you, I'm starting to train like an hour and a half to 2 hours, like daily before baby was coming. I was doing 6 days a week. It was really enjoyable. And I even wrote on my monthly goals for my training. It was blank. There was like, I'm not following any training routine. I have no idea what to expect. My expectation here is I'm probably not going to train for 3 weeks. Maybe I'll get a run in. Who knows? You don't know what you're going to expect. But once again, man, today it's been 3 days in a row at the gym, and again going at 4:30 in the morning till about 7 in the morning. So that's getting up, getting myself ready, going to the gym, coming back home. So once again, even that routine, and only if the sleep routine with the baby is done correctly the night before, does it follow along kind of nicely into the next day, because she'll generally sleep, for me at the very least, kind of she'll wake up at 2 a.m. She'll wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. and then she'll sleep all the way till like 7:30 or 8 a.m. So for me, I kind of get up at that time, go do a workout, come back, and then support the family. So that was also, I think those were the two biggest like shockers for me, that I genuinely thought it was going to be like, whoa, it's not going to be the same for a while.
Yeah. Are you feeling weaker? Because I saw something about, I think it was a small snippet from Andrew Huberman about how expectant dads, and maybe even just afterwards as well, have like 50% less testosterone than
Before or afterwards?
before. It was definitely before,
So
and maybe afterwards.
So before, and I think I mentioned to you this in passing, but I basically didn't tell you. So I'll fill in the details here for the mere mortals at home, the mere mortalites. Is that I did a powerlifting competition basically 2 days before baby was born. So, and that came out of someone sending me through a message on Instagram. They were like, "Hey, I want to do this road competition for essentially just a max bench, max squat, max deadlift." And I was basically like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting. He seems like a pretty fun character. I've met him a couple of times before." I said, why not? Why not do it? I was off work at that time, and I took partner with me to the gym to be like, okay, cool, let's do it. She actually thought she was getting like potential baby delivery feelings in the morning, but we're like, we might not be able to make it. In any case, I was able to go. But, long story short, I was able to do not my full max bench. So I think I hit 155, but I was able to do a really heavy squat and heavy deadlift for the current time. So no, not really. Like strength actually kept quite nicely. And even the training now, look, no, I haven't hit any like super heavy things at the moment. But here's actually an interesting point. You know how I was training quite hard to increase my fitness? Well, I was doing the Hard Work Pays Off Matt Fraser app, and I could see what I'd previously done on day 4, like a month and a half ago. And I just restarted it again because I thought, hey, might as well just restart, just kind of like re-baseline myself with it whenever I can. And I've gone and done a particular workout that I did about a month and a half ago, a minute or so faster. So and it's like overall 10, 12-minute domain. So about 10% better. So I was like, damn, this is actually quite good. I will say, so this is the caveat, people at home might be like, hey, this is not so bad. Like, this must be like easy. I will say we have been unbelievably blessed that she's actually a good sleeper, a good feeder, a good like everything. Family's healthy, feeding's healthy. The breastfeeding's come easy. A lot of these things, which are the key points, when that goes wrong, then you're in for some pain. That hasn't happened for us. So, take the caveat, take a little grain of salt that I'm saying all of this in the full knowledge that it's probably, better than the average expectations. But it hasn't changed. So, those two key ones I want to talk about, sleep and training. Those were the two that I was really concerned about. Like I was concerned, hey, these are going to go down, and they're going to go down to the point that I'm going to be annoyed, frustrated, maybe even like really disheartened by what's going on because I'm not able to get the right sleep, or inversely get the right training, back and forth sort of thing.
Yeah, interesting. I was going to ask about the cost as well. So like the realities of living in 2023, the modern, maybe like there was something I was thinking about recently. It was like, why I could get knowledge of what it is like to be a first-time dad anywhere in the world, basically. There's so much content of podcasts. I'm starting to see you using our YouTube channel, so baby stuff starting to pop up for me and whatnot.
Are you seeing the black and white videos coming up at all?
No, I haven't seen them. No.
Okay, so here's one for the people at home. I only actually recently learned about this a few months ago from Toph for his baby. And basically it's that, babies up until 6 weeks, 8 weeks or 10 weeks, roughly around that, they don't really see the world as the world that we see. It's quite blurry. But what they see really well is contrasting, like really highly contrasted colors. So black and white for them, they can determine the shapes. So if you want to do this now, people at home, you can go find just type in black and white baby on YouTube. And what you'll get is this short to long videos with some music overlaid, where it'll just be shapes and circles. And honestly, it'd be like
psychedelic.
If you want to get like a psychedelic or something and watch this, it's basically that, but for the babies. And you can actually see her eyes like pinpoint where things move and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So anyways, yeah, you'll start to see a lot more of those of baby things. But to the realities of cost.
Yeah. How much does a baby cost in 2023? What are your expectations both beforehand and afterwards?
Ooh, okay. So look, I'll keep the things away of like furniture and that, because furniture you can kind of. I'll include that too. So
baby specific furniture.
Yeah, baby specific.
Cot,
right?
Yeah.
A bassinet, a changing table. We may do with a pretty cheap stuff around that sort of furniture, but honestly, you're probably going to need at least a couple of $100 when it comes to a bassinet, especially like a safe bassinet, and your furniture pieces. Where they really get you. Where it really gets you, the cost where it really gets you, because you also need like a bath. You need a bath. You need a little bath for them.
Yeah,
you can bath them in a bucket. Dude,
I've heard prams. I've heard prams are really expensive.
How much do you reckon we paid for our pram? And I'll share with the mere mortalites at home, because we went a little bit more expensive.
Oh geez, I want to say reasonably like $200 or something.
Dude, you're no. So for people at home now, again, this is across the world. I'm saying in Australian dollars. I went in, right, as a just absolutely blissful parent, like
just a couple of wheels,
a couple of months ago.
A couple of wheels and some
I thought
fabric.
a couple of wheels, Kmart, just get the thing.
Yeah.
Dude, $700.
Damn.
$700 how much we paid, and it was like below $1,000. It was slim pickings at best. Then they went sort of upwards. Now, yes, you can get cheaper ones. Don't get me wrong, you can.
Yeah, of course.
But honestly, the lower cost ones are so flimsy and probably not even like useful, honestly. Plus, you get into those conversations around, for a newborn, it has to be completely flat. Then do you want to go and buy a new pram in a year's time when they're going to go on a certain angle? So there's those complexities as well. Same thing with a baby chair for the car. That's again $400 and something. And you can, again, do you want to just be an infant? Do you want to be 0 to 4 years, 0 to 8 years? You kind of have to mix up like how long do you want this thing? So okay, so that's another big cost. But honestly, I thought that was going to be probably the biggest. The reality is, I think the biggest cost, dude, nappies.
I was just about
nappies,
to say diapers.
I'm gonna combine this with flexibility, right? Because there's another point I wrote down. In becoming a dad, one of the things I've noticed is like, hey, you better believe you're going to have to be flexible to change the nappies of your baby. And for parents at home, they'll get this, but for non-parents, you'll be like, wait, what? Basically, on the daily until a certain point in time, you have to know how many wees and poos your baby does every single day. And you need to keep a tracker of that, right? You need to keep a tracker of that. Now, in that, we've sort of noticed that probably like so now, right? How many diapers would you think a baby would go through on daily? Now, on a newborn, right? We're talking newborn. You would imagine.
Oh, geez, newborn. Yeah, newborn. I would maybe guess like 6 or something.
Dude, again, I would have expected 6. That's kind of maximum. We got given 2 nappy bags that totaled up to 104 nappies. Gone before the first 10 days. Gone. Right? That cost of nappies, or if you want to go down the path of reusable nappies and then washing everything else, you can do that too. Yeah, man, that cost is going to add up quick for people. And I think it's $20-$30 for a nappy bag. That will probably last you a week, if that. So you're thinking just like that additional cost on top of your normal shopping. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot. So that, and I mean, again, thankfully, breastfeeding is going really well. But if you weren't, that wasn't the case, then definitely formula would be just an arm and a leg. And it used to be so expensive in Australia because everyone was trying to buy it for overseas and the like.
Well, China was buying it from here. Chinese people.
China was trying to buy. Well, Chinese individuals were buying it and sort of sending it over or sending it direct. Mm-hmm. And then there was limitations on how much you can actually purchase here. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's still the limitation.
Not sure.
This kind of has come down.
Yeah, not sure.
But again, that cost hasn't been. But besides that, there hasn't been net. We're probably as a family saving money because we're not going out anywhere, right? So that's the other thing. Right, I was actually looking through the credit card statement and that, and honestly, we've probably been spending 50%, 60% less just because we're not out, we're not at restaurants, we're not at dinners, we're not going out to places, not buying coffee out. I'm cooking all my meals, I'm freezing all my meals, we're all eating at home. It's fairly straightforward. You're not driving anywhere, you're not using any fuel. So, net. Now they were probably saving a bit of money, but there was a lot of capital that came in at the beginning. So I don't know if that's offset by that.
Wow, that's funny. That's a positive spin on it that I hadn't thought of. Yeah. One of the other things I was going to say was I was asking my dad about just the first time birth and whatnot. So I was the first one, and he was saying I was actually like a really great child, and I think about by 12 weeks I was sleeping through the whole night. And
nice.
So,
okay,
it's the horror stories that I have just heard in general, and this is just offhand comments from just society in large, is terrible twos and you say goodbye to 4 or 5 years of life because it's all just going to be dominated.
I just really don't think it's like that, man. And look, again, I'm just saying, it might not be the reality, but I'll give you an example, like a real example. If people are looking at the video, you can check this out and I can talk through it. But this is a little app, and I don't know if you can see that clearly. Oh, here you go. If I see it at an angle, This is just the bassinet that we use for her sleep. Now that's the nighttime patterns. So what you see in that, so I'm showing Karen right now, it's kind of like a U-shaped view. Our bassinet kind of gives us an idea of the amount of sleep that the baby gets. Now, it's just the time that they're in bed, not how much they're asleep. Yeah. But if you look at the blue that I'm showing you right now, those are the big chunks of sleep that she goes through, right? And so if I was to read it out, we put her to bed at 8:57. She kind of got up at 9:30. 9:10. Went back to sleep at 9:30, all the way till 2 a.m. Fed till 2:30. Slept all the way till 5 a.m. Right? So, for me, right, in more lights, I wake up like 2 or 3 times anyways through my sleep, regardless, right? Like I kind of, that's already me. I'm not sleeping all the way through. So, for me, it hasn't been so much of a difference. And I guess I'm, knock on wood, that continues to be the case. Might not be as it goes to 2, but that's probably something I'll keep sharing through the podcast as well, right? If things changes. But at least from my expectations about that, it's been pretty, not wildly different. Not like it's just been perfect, but it has been a lot better than what I expected it to be.
Nice. What do you say we go down to the Boostagram Lounge and then we do some like psychological realities, some of the mental stuff that's changed?
Yep, we can do that. Plus, for people at home, I want you to stick around because I'm going to be talking a little bit as well about the delivery and the expectations versus the realities of it as well.
Because this is the first time Juan and I have been speaking since the
Correct.
Vienna has graced our world. So yeah,
our shores.
lots of cool stuff.
All right, very good. Well, let's do the Mere Mortals Boostagram Lounge.
Let me just start off with one thing. So I don't know if you've had time to check into the last Musings, but we had a really, really, really awesome week last one.
Sorry. I digress. Yes, I did re-listen to that big portion that you talked through of all the sats that came through from that Boostagram. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff came in, and I unfortunately have to do 2 make goods because I missed them. So there was one from here we go. So there was one from Dave Jones himself, and he sent in. Now, once again, this is kind of hard because I'm getting like the 10th of it. So I think he sent in about 5,000 sats, and he said, "Thanks for the interview, Karen, and congrats to Juan." And he,
thank you, Dave.
Yeah, sent Juan a little congrats in the actual thing. It was as well. And then there was one, I think, from Adam Curry himself, which I can't remember if I did this big, massive one.
The 77,777.
Okay, I did do that one. So there was one from Chad F. I heard my name, so I had to boost. Maybe it was that one. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4 sats with Podverse. Once again, I think I've kind of got this wrong, so it was probably about 12,000. But yeah, a couple of make goods there. Yeah, it was Chad. I did forget to do his. So
cool.
Apologies for those two.
It was a big week last week, and I did hear that you were very appreciative, and it does help when you get weeks like that.
Yeah,
especially when you're doing it on your own as well, right? Like, it fills the content and it's good. You're like kind of like, this is happy.
It came through at a good time for sure.
So look, let me start from here. I've got a couple from May 12 onwards. We've got one from ourselves, Karen. So this is, will this message make it to Satoshi Stream, Telegram, and Discord bot?
It did.
Fine on the next Musings, which it did, 1,000 sats. I'm sad that it seems annoying that some of these things are not coming through correctly through the channels.
I've been chatting with them. Some other people in the Telegram chat were also saying the same thing. So hopefully that has been fixed. But it's been fixed many times in the past. So.
Many times before. We've got one from Madaltv. Thanks. 100 sat sent using Fountain.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. We got one from Scott. 1,234 sat sent using Podverse. So he says, congrats on learning coding. You are correct. Lots of people learn a new programming language in a week. I've done it several times. I love your analysis, though I do feel like sometimes we use programming languages to communicate with other humans. I've had algorithms that didn't make sense until the other person showed me the code. This is kind of like a visual aid for spoken explanation, though.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. I can't say I've learned coding. I tried learning it and gave up. That was basically the outcome of that whole thing.
You know how I said to you in the past, I've said like, not that I can read code, the particular code, but I can kind of understand or have some conversations with people. And look, that might be true to some regard, but then when I was reading this about, learning coding, I don't know if you've listened to the conversation between Lex Friedman and Wolfram.
Yeah, so that's Stephen Wolfram. I am about midway through it at the moment.
The latest one?
Yeah, like the one that came out 7 days ago.
And honestly, dude, it's like I'm a child. I'm listening and re-listening and going like, I thought I understood what they were talking about, and just certain things just fly over me. I kind of think about it in this way of, when you say like you're learning coding or coding, like you know it to a certain standard, just like I know it to a certain standard, until that standard changes completely. Or you're talking about something else, and it's like, whoa, I'm not understanding what's going on.
Yeah. I can't take any. I can't take the compliment. It's my bad habit kicks in again. But yeah, I appreciate.
But we will take the Boostagram. We will take the Boostagram.
And
thank you very much.
Especially because it was from Podverse, and it was kind of that, just. From Scott, I don't know who Scott is. Do you know who Scott is? Is that
nope? I don't know who Scott is.
Name? So that was really cool. Just getting in like a message from someone who hasn't kind of announced their presence before, or at least.
And you reckon this would have been from the book review?
No, I can tell you it was. No, I can't tell you. No, it wouldn't be the book reviews. These don't come into the here. So it would have been from the chat with Dave, because I did speak about coding and whatnot there. So awesome. There are a couple that did get missed there.
Wait, I've got one more. I've got one more that came in today from Martin, and he's let's test a Boostagram with a symbol in it. And he put 2 little rocket ships in it. That's 500 sats sent using PodFriend.
Yeah, so the cool thing, and he's been doing a lot of it's funny. So I reached out to 4 of the devs of who I use their actual their products. So this is Mitch Downey with Podverse. This is Stephen B with CuriouCaster. This is I suppose Fountain, so him all the time. Oscar Mary, and then also Martin from PodFriend. And he was saying like, oh yeah, it's so awesome getting these boostergrams coming in. I really, it's kind of like, it feels like they're kind of meant for me now as well, and they are, because he's 1% in the split. But he's already sent in probably more than he'll get from us in, I don't know, 2 months or 3 months, just with us being the new testing feed. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're just kind to people, that they're typically kind back. So
oh, absolutely.
And it, like unannounced kindness. So I didn't ask for anything from any of them. It was just like, hey, I just want to put you in the splits. That'd be cool. So yeah, thanks to him. So hopefully we'll be his standard test feed from now on.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple here that I can go through, which didn't come through there. So I don't know if I talked about this one, but no, I didn't. So you'll be glad to hear these ones. So 2,222, and this is from a random person using Castomatic. I can't actually see their name. It was anonymous, and they said,
okay,
Dave, I'm glad to hear you're going to build the exporter that includes value blocks. At some point, I'm going to want that too. So Dave being prescient as usual and saying if one person wants it, other people will want it. So yeah, that is something that I hopefully will need in the near future as well. And it was just once again like one of those ones where I was like, I assumed, okay, he's getting the stuff that's coming from Fountain, and he's just reconstructing the feed, and then that feed goes out to everyone. But no, it's kind of all in the database. It really just kind of showed how little I know about databases and how they actually work, what stuff that you'd think would just be a natural fit. Oh, it's that he would just get that data, reconstruct an RSS feed, and there we go. But man, that would probably be a whole ton of work to do that. So yeah, it's all these like hidden things in the background. 7,777 sats from none other than Peter. He exists. He is still alive.
No, I did see this. I did see this come through.
Okay.
I didn't see it on the Satoshi, but I saw it come through.
It would have been.
I believe it was on Fountain.
Yeah, it could have been there. Yeah. And he says, Dave, Podbro Jones, keeping it real. And then a little double emoji.
He exists.
Yeah, so he actually, so this Discord message I sent him a fair while ago, he responded to that and was just like, yeah, no, nothing in particular. He was just tired of NFT talk and any NFT talk. And I was like, yeah, well, I guess we certainly have had some in there. So, but no, really, really appreciated Peter, and also appreciated that, he's not too, his you can catch up to him still. He's left that gap there, so it's not unreachable.
He still left it available for people if they want to jump in. If you want to send through 3 million sats just straight in, if you'd like to try to catch up, if you're fresh, feel free to do so.
Yep, brilliant. I think you got the Absurdient one there. You missed your own one, Dave. Good to see the main man back on. Thanks for this chat. None other than Juan G. It's Juan G in the house. That was you. I didn't even know you'd changed your name to that. So that was pretty cool. One here from Chris Lass, another big one. This 77,777. He says, just a great chat. This conversation made me love Dave even more. This was a great listen while Brent and I were driving around.
Man, there's been some bumping good stuff coming through in the Boostagrams, man.
Yeah, man. Really, really cool. So
wow.
I've reached out to Chris. We've got a conversation lined up for hopefully the 25th. And I'll have to ask him. 25th of May, yes, correct. And I'll have to ask him about getting him a shirt, because I would like to get one to him. But he didn't immediately jump on it when I reached out the first time. So I'll just be able to do it in person. I can confirm that another Mere Mortal shirt is out in the wild today. I have posted one going to Adam. So
nice.
Adam. To Adam Curry.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then finally, as I was trying to post it, so he gave me a PO box as where to send it to. And I didn't make a scene or anything at the post office, but I gave them this, fill in all these details, all
Mm.
of my details, all of his details that I know. And then they get it and they go, oh, I don't know if we can send to a PO box. And this is just like, I'm sending from a post office to another post office. Isn't this what you do?
Oh, you can. Come on now, Karen. You can't. This is not how post offices works.
No, obviously not. Obviously
God.
not. So that one is a to be seen if it'll get delivered or not.
Okay, so it's in transit. So Adam, if you're
It's in
listening to
transit,
this, I
yes.
really hope you actually get that damn shirt. Let's hope the Australian Post works efficiently.
For sure. Now this one, I'm not sure if it's a Boostagram or not. It's only 10 sats, so I mean 10 sats is very much appreciated. But it just says thanks, and it was from at Madaltv, sent using Fountain. So I think that might be one of those comments where it's like, I don't know what it is, a comment, but it's not a boost, something like that. But definitely some stuff coming in. I also had something to talk about. Those were the big ones. Oh, one of the things I was going to say is we've never actually really used the numerology a lot. Part of that is because we've screwed it up a whole bunch of times. Even just in this, I screwed up some of the numbers coming in. I believe a bunch of sevens like that is a striper boost. I'm not sure what a striper boost is. I think it's another album or something from back in the day. But I was going to say a suggestion for the mere mortalites at home is if you're going to boost something in, I would suggest sending in a 3838, the baby boost, because that is
3838 for baby
BEBE on a calculator if you hold it upside down. And I think that'll be a fun one for Juan. So
there you go, 3838. All right, we want
in a baby boost.
Okay, so for next week, we want to see plenty of bebe. So I want to see 3838 coming through. So if even if you normally send 5,000, send 3838. I want to see more 3838s.
Yeah, definitely. So the Boostagram Lounge, just for everyone who is wondering, like, what the hell are all these messages and things and these random numbers you're speaking out? So the way that we get support from the show in a monetary form is we just ask you to go to newpodcastapps.com and choose one of the ones from there. And it's essentially you can send in money in the actual podcasting app. Now, this money is Bitcoin, but you don't actually have to really know that much about it. You can just kind of convert it to fiat, and then you'll get a whole bunch of numbers, and then you can, from fiat into Bitcoin, and send it through. So I'm working on making this easier. I'm trying to do some work on the site. I'll talk about this in the housekeeping right at the end about all the things I'm trying to do. But that's one of the ones, making it easier for people, because I have had a fair few conversations with people recently about you're making it hard for us to support you. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to work on that and make it easier,
make it streamlined.
Okay. But
I was going to ask you about that as well.
These are messages that people are sending in to us and thanking with an amount to help support the show. So very much appreciated for everyone who has done that. Yeah.
Nope, absolutely. All right, let's get back to the normal proceedings of Musings here. And we're talking about the psychological aspect. I think you had some.
So is there a difference? Has the weight of the world hit you on? Do you feel different now that the little Vienna has come out? And do you feel, I don't know, more responsibility? It's, you're holding this tiny little creature in your arms, and it's like, wow, I'm now 50% responsible for at least the next 18 years of molding this child into, I don't know, something good. So, it's all on you.
Yeah, I think, and again, this might be this might not be the general answer to something like of that question, but for me, at least personally, I'm like, I'm not anxious about that. I'm almost like excited, to the front of how this doesn't feel like responsibility. This feels like fun. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. So awesome. I'm looking forward to it. There is definitely
just imagining you like dangling her off a balcony, a la Michael Jackson style. Isn't this so fun?
But there has been, it's in the minutia that the responsibility is quite apparent. So we have a large dog at home, right? And leaving her or for any more than a couple of seconds through a day fills you with a little bit of the anxiety / responsibility of, oh my god, where is she? What's happening? Is she breathing? Is she not up against like a cushion or a pillow, or is a dog around? So there's a lot of that extra responsibility, and at least like psychologically that you go, I think normally, your mind might be filled with other things. So let's take a leave from you right now, right? There's probably a lot of stuff in your mind right now around just, hey, finding a partner, doing X, Y, Z, is taking a lot of priority. Kind of like imagine 90% of that gets replaced with, hey, is this baby doing okay? Hey, do I have to change the nappy? Hey, is it crying? Hey, do I have to do this, that, whatever with the baby? That's kind of the feeling, I guess, the transition of it with the responsibility. It just feels like it's always on your mind. Between me and my partner at the moment, honestly, I reckon we've talked about other things than the baby, a handful of times in the last 12 days, but not really. Like, it's just been purely like about the baby, whether the baby's gone to the toilet, whether the baby's gone, going to go for a walk, whether the baby's fed, not fed, all these sort of things. So just the avalanche of time that you're spending and just consciously on the baby kind of just fills you with that extra responsibility. But in the long term, nah, not so much. Doesn't put that impact, I guess, on, I've got to deliver. I've got to be this sort of person.
You answered that like my dad did. I was saying,
oh, really?
When I came in, did it feel different? He just went, nah. And I was wondering if it was just because, that was 31 years ago. So he's kind of just forgotten about it, or...
Yeah, look, I honestly would have expected it to be a lot more like, whoa, I'm a dad. Whoa, this means I've got to do this. This means I've got to do that. Like, yes, but then talking with other, either new dads or people have been, dad recently as well, a lot of it was, getting yourself back to the reality of who you are as a person and not losing the individualism of who you are is very important. Now, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't absolutely do anything. Like, you absolutely have to, take some differences in the path that you're doing. But yeah, I'd probably be similar to your dad. Like, how much is that psychologically pressing onto you? Yeah, not that much.
Man, me and Vienna are gonna bond in 20 years' time when she hears this, and I'm like, my dad didn't give a shit about me either, In
the same way that your dad doesn't give a shit about you. Nah, dude.
Yeah, geez.
She's gonna grow up to be just this beast, eh?
Yeah, she probably will. She probably will. Delivery. Let's hear the delivery story. What were you gonna say about that?
Okay. So delivery front. So again, expectations. And I'll keep out like any of the graphic details and all the details, but more so as like the dad, right, as a partner. The expectation for me was going to be, hey, it's just going to happen. Like, all of a sudden.
So even before you get into that, what is the general procedure nowadays in 2023? Are you allowed in the hospital? Are you allowed in the room? Are you, can you be in there but with a mask on or things like this? What's that kind of
good call out. So at least here in Australia, there's still got a limitation that you can only have a maximum of 2 people in the delivery room. So 2 other people, and then all of the staff that are needed there for the purpose. So there's that limitation. You can't really rotate in and out of people. Don't need a mask, which is cool. At the hospital afterwards, when you're staying there, just a stay of 1 person who can stay with the mum. Again, that's differing depending on public, private, what type of level you go to, but that's by the by, right? And the general expectation is, as natural as you can get is waters break or contractions begin, you go to the hospital, you get checked in, you go to the maternity ward, go through all the process, you deliver, and then you go and stay for 24, 48 hours in the hospital, and then you go home.
Yeah.
That's generally
so that's like, 48 hours, something like that, maybe even less?
Something like that. That's kind of the expectation. Now, for us, it was slightly different in the sense that it was kind of a more prolonged delivery in that, baby was overcooked. It was due dates come and gone, and it was more of you need to do a manual intervention to make sure that the baby comes. But that meant that it was quite a long distance. So from the time that, Vienna actually was born, it was 2 days that actually began theoretically. So it was kind of like working through that, and I actually stopped completely working. So it was, back and forth with hospital visits and seeing how it was going until a certain point in time, right? Now, the expectation for me always was going to be, hey, it's going to be not fast, but it's going to be like, it's just going to start happening and it's going to be intense. And so
there'll be action. There'll be things to start moving,
So it wasn't like that for a little while. We were like, it's kind of just taking time. It's rolling through until it hit. Until it hit. And let me tell you, folks out there, first of all, as a partner or significant other, as a dad, you better be prepared for the onslaught that happens throughout it. Because again, it can happen at daytime, it can happen at nighttime. So for us, it was all through the night. So it's completely all through the night. I think it all started roughly at about 10 p.m. I think 10:30 p.m. was kind of started, and she was delivered at 10:59 in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
So
Good
that
12
was
hours, yeah.
intense delivery stuff. So it was getting to the point. So I never would have expected. I just thought, oh man, it's going to be so intense for the delivery for my partner, and just can't wait. Hopefully the baby goes well and it's all healthy and all that. About halfway through, dude, I was tired. I was like, man, I am like gasping for air here. Like this is hard yakka. So that's something I didn't expect. That I was like, oh wow, this is very, very hard. So caution to the folks out there who are potentially looking to do that in the future, and you want to be there. Which one I say you should definitely be there. They need a support person, but man, do not underestimate just how much of an effort that is. That honestly, if it's not the same, right? But it was comparable to when I did Kokoda, 96 kilometers. It was like that.
Wow.
It was like that mentality of like, oh, I've got to not sleep. I've got to watch what I'm eating or not eat. I've got to be like completely in it, full intense mode for a very, very long time. So when you think about it, right, you're working through like contractions and the like, you might have to support, and when I'm saying support, go look at videos if you want. Like it's very, very intense, like support that you'll be giving for about 40, 50 seconds. And then you get a few like 20, 30 seconds breather, and you go again and now do that for 5 hours straight. It's full on. So that expectation just blew me out of the water completely. And then afterwards, chilling in the hospital, man, like you just wrecked, right? You're absolutely like smashed because you've barely eaten any food. You've got no sleep, if any. And you're kind of just laying there at the hospital bed with a newborn. And you're like, wow, what do I do? And that next little stage of the delivery, so we were at the hospital for a little bit over 24 hours. Again, you've barely slept, you've barely eaten. I had to get someone to go and drop me food off because I was just starving. And you're trying to deal with a newborn that's barely sleeping, wants to feed every couple of hours. Again, like that was just the wildest time. So I can see why, sometimes when I see like a new dad or new mom or new family and they're walking around the hospital and they're like, oh man, they look disheveled. Dude, I must have looked just absolutely destroyed until I got home. So, and again, I think I might have brushed my teeth like 2 days before. How much time went? 2 days, I think, that I didn't brush my teeth. More than that for a shower. Like it took forever to have a shower. So there was a lot of that I underestimated for sure. And even then I was putting a lot of like, oh wow, this is going to be like pretty intense. Nothing to what I actually imagined it to be.
Now, the most important question, how many push-ups did you get done whilst in the hospital?
0.
No.
0 push-ups, no workouts, nothing done.
I'm rather disappointed with that.
I think the first push-ups I did, actually did sit-ups. The first sit-ups I did was when we got home the next day. I did some sit-ups in front of it because I was like, oh, I'm going to do a couple of sit-ups. But there was no space, no time, no energy for any of that. And yeah, it was wild stuff. It was wild stuff. So I'll keep most of the other gory details out of it. But yeah, I would say as a dad, that would be the crucible, I think, almost. You know how you think through of, there's like the kid going into the adult or into the teenager because you've got to go through the ritual. This is one of these rituals. This is like one of the rituals of human society is being there for that birth. It's like a crucible that everyone should go to. So
interesting.
That was it was cool. Like I look back at it now going like, hey, that was exciting, intense, crazy. I still don't like want to repeat it right now. Like it's like, no, I don't want to repeat that at all. Like, and if I'm like, dude, I'm not the mum, right? I'm not delivering. And I'm like, I do not want to go through that at all right now. There's no way I would want to go through that again. But similar to the Kokoda challenge, right? First few months afterwards, I was like, I'm never doing this again. But now I'm like, hey, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It might be the same in a few years.
When she starts getting cute and when your memory is getting a little bit, hazier, fuzzier, Yeah.
Exactly. Look, the final one I was going to bring up, which is a bit of a different one, and I've got a couple. I had more notes, but I think we'll end on this one. The realities as a dad of the love for the child, because I think there's an interesting one that not many people look into, because it's often discussed that the mum, you can kind of go both ways. You can go down the path of baby, like, just before baby comes out, you can either be like really excited for it, or you might feel like, I'm not really connected to this baby, like it's not a real thing. And as soon as the baby comes out, one or two things happen. You're like immediately connected, overjoyed, or you might still a little bit be like apathy, like, oh, hey. And that can, that changes over time. But for the dad, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was like, I feel some connection to the baby beforehand, but like, is it going to be immediate? Not particularly, because the chemical balances that happen, from a female perspective when they deliver, and the oxytocin release, that's what really bonds together. Same thing with breastfeeding. That doesn't happen with dads. So at the very beginning, dude, I had as much connection to the baby as I had before I was born. So for Vienna, I was like, oh, I connect with her, but I'm not connected fully with her. And it hasn't been really till a few days ago where that started to really transition. Now, that might be because they start operating and showing emotion through their faces and the little cuteness and that. So it does take a while. And I think some people can think in the first few days, like, I care for this thing, but it's still in my mind. It's like, oh, this baby, is it my baby? Is it my daughter? Is it my son? It takes a little while for that to grow on you. And, I don't know exactly what it is that you can do extra for it, but obviously spending a lot of time with the baby obviously helps. So do that, people. But don't be surprised that it takes a few days. And that I didn't expect. I expected it was going to be same as a mum. Bang, baby gets dropped. Well, not dropped, delivered. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so in love. No, that's not how it worked. It worked that over a few days, you kind of start building that connection, just like you would a friend or a lover or whoever it may be. It does take that time to, see like, well, what the hell is this thing in front of me? Oh, it's a baby. And then you start attaching it to, oh, it's Vienna. Oh, it's my baby. Oh, okay. And then the love sort of starts pouring through. So that one was definitely I wouldn't say I had any expectations, but if I had to put it, it definitely didn't meet the expectations of the realities of becoming a dad.
Okay, interesting. I want to squeeze one more in, which is, so, there was something you referenced before, which is like, you need to track the sleep of the baby, and you need to track how many poos and wheeze and stuff that she's doing. Now, if you had to compare what you would imagine it would have been like to have had a child in 1923, and then let's just say 2023, what would be different about the experience now compared to those two? Because it's still you, child, and mom, some sort of medical professional helping to deliver the baby. I imagine that's the same across all of those scenarios. Is there anything special about the modern age that requires all of these things? Do you think you can get too worked up over tracking the baby's poos and wheeze and whatnot, and it's just, we've been doing this for tens of thousands of years. It's not maybe that necessary to track with all the modern technology and whatnot.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Because there's things like, so we know that child mortality rate was much higher back in the day.
Yes, so that's a big difference, and of the mother as well.
Yeah, and look, that is a big difference. But how much of that is associated with diseases that we can now deal with versus just being by the numbers and kind of preventing it? I think it's two different things. So in comparison to say 100 or 500 years ago, counting the poos and wheeze, okay, it's not as important really. And if you're getting down to the basics of it, it's probably not as important as it was back then. Well, it's not that it's making like this unbelievable crucial difference, because if the baby did get really sick for whatever reason, you weren't counting that, or something's wrong, there's probably things that can be done from a medical perspective. So, hey, losing weight, we can do this. Hey, the kidney's not producing, not getting rid of a particular thing properly. Okay, we can use these lights to, help that on. So there's lots of things that occur, right? There wouldn't have back in the day. And, whether you count your baby's poos and wheeze, ain't going to change that. What I think it does in the differentiation is it's a proactiveness / the preemptive medical treatment, which is kind of similar to, the same sort of medical treatment that would happen for adults, or the steps that you would take before getting sick. So, before you got fat or you got diabetes, you can track your blood work and your insulin sensitivity and things like that to understand whether you're going to go and get these diseases or not. Same thing applies with maybe checking on your epigenetics or general genetics to see if you're susceptible to whatever disease, or having a colonoscopy. Is there a difference between getting colonoscopy now and 500 years ago? Well, not necessarily if you've got the cancer, but now you might do it and you'll get preemptive look at whether you have to go get treated to maybe get rid of something. So I guess I see it more in that way. I wouldn't say it's, if your baby, so general is that your baby should wee about as many times as the days they've been born up until a certain time. If it's a fourth day and they wee 3 times or they wee 5 times, no, you shouldn't go lose your marbles over it. But if your baby's 9 days and weeing once a day, there's probably something wrong. You should probably go and get that checked out by a professional. But 100 years ago, 500 years ago, you'd probably either the baby would be fine, just continue on, or get really sick and then you'd have to go take it in. So nowadays, it'd probably get really sick if that was going to be the case. But you take it in and they'd go hey, you're an idiot. You need to do this. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm just curious about things like, the medical profession is great at these real serious interventions of heart transplants, of amputated limbs, of things like that, but it kind of sucks with these slow growing stuff where there's no particular cure for it and whatnot, and going into a hospital is full of sick people. Pete on the last conversation was just saying how he's just gotten so sick basically since having kids, because they're going to daycare, they're bringing back all this shit, and it's just constant. And hospitals are essentially the same thing.
Oh, for sure. And look, I'm for sure expecting that in the future I'm going to get that same sickness from childcare and whatnot. But I mean, for me personally, I do similar tracking with a lot of things. It's, hey, I'll try to preempt it on my side. But yeah, in real life, you can only do so much to stop people getting sick or getting themselves to a position where I think, as you put it, the more I can keep them away from the hospital, the better.
Yeah. It's more just the preemptive. You're worrying about so many things, and in the grand scheme of stuff, it just doesn't matter.
True. Yeah. You're right. I might be again, I showed you the details with the sleeping.
Yeah.
I could get down to the point of oh, she slept half an hour less. She's sleeping 1 hour more. Yeah. It doesn't that. As long as they're sleeping, right, and they're not annoying you, that's fine. They're going to sleep. That's, as you say, it's literally in our genes to do this, right? What are you going to do? You're going to force them to sleep extra? You're going to put a little nightshade over their eyes? Right, you're not going to do that. They're going to, from a human perspective, there's a way that they can evolve and grow. You probably don't have to do that much to it, as long as you're putting the right things in place. That data, by the way, that I showed you, isn't even something that we track ourselves personally. It's just that the bassinet that we have does that, but we actually use a bassinet for other reasons. It's just kind of cool. It's like sometimes we talk about it, we're like, oh, she'll wake up at this time, at this time, at this time. Honestly, are we checking the hours of longest sleep or something? Not really. It's not the case. So,
yeah. Cool.
But in any case, folks, that's a few things of the realities of becoming a dad. We're going here now for almost an hour, so we might put a little cap on this one as well. But I will pass first to Karen just to talk through some housekeeping items.
Yeah. So just for everyone wondering, I suppose. Why? I mean, even I'm wondering as well. One, do you reckon this is going to be something doable for the next while? The Wednesday episodes, the live ones.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So one of the people might know this, might not know this when they have kids, but kids generally go through these evolutions, let's just call it, or leaps, and there's 10 of them or 12 of them in the first few months, year. It might come a point that one of these leaps comes and it's oh wow, I'm wrecked. I can't do it on a particular day.
Mm-hmm.
It won't work. But right now, look, it's working fine. Had a chat with a partner about it. Seems like it's going good. So it looks like we'll be able to continue this for the next few foreseeable Wednesdays, at least online, and start even moving towards a few in-person ones as well. So
yeah, nice, cool. All right, beautiful. Just for me, so I wrote down a quick list, and you'll probably see in the monthly goals how this will expand out. But I've just written fix website, fix audio, backup all files, transcripts for all files, prep for more detailed episodes, prep for conversation guests, V for V move to Blueberry, AI experimentation, soundproof of the room, people not being able to support. There's all of these things that are kind of in the back of my mind, and I'm wondering, what's the best thing to fix up first and whatnot. But I can tell you, all of the. I want to say like the podcast I feel is going to take a step change in the next 6 months, I would say, because I'm probably going to spend more effort on it.
Okay, step change is nice. I like this.
In the sense of I think making it more kind of professional in a way. It's not that it has been unprofessional, but it's just I think that there was areas that just neither of us kind of had capacity to work on, the website being one of them. I've always kind of just taken a very hands-off approach to that. We got something up and running, but I do want to make it better so that people can, because I have had a couple of experiences recently of just people telling me what their experience was like of trying to support or going onto the website. And then it was like, oh, this happened and then this happened. And it's, it's so hard to see things with a fresh pair of eyes. So yeah, just general housekeeping is that, and then also I am still really committed to doing making sure there's something coming out on the Monday and something coming out on the Friday, with the live episode kind of taking place on the Wednesday. So,
here's another one actually, just as a housekeeping, so slight change, and again, there's to the realities of becoming a dad. Dude, reading went out the window. And it will literally go out the window for a long time if I didn't do something about it. So I've committed myself to waking up slightly earlier than I have been normally, or shortening my workout to do reading before I hit the gym, which I used to do like years ago because I just wasn't finding time, to be able to find time to put together book reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, cool. Sometimes becoming realities of becoming dad, you got to find time somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I mean that's just a bonus, to be honest. I've always kind of considered the book, any book reviews you do to be a bonus to the kind of schedule, and just give me a small break, and let me read a 500-page book because I'm not in a rush to try and get things out. So yeah, very much do appreciate that, man. And I don't know if you know this, but the David Goggins book review you've done is easily our best performing episode on the audio.
Yeah, I think you did mention that on the audio.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that Eddie Jaku one you did a while ago as well. It's also pretty good.
Oh yeah, the happiest man on earth.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, that one. So yeah, lots of cool things happening. But yeah, the ones on Mondays, they'll either be a conversation, it'll be the monthly goals, or it will be a themed one, I guess, a solo themed one that I'll do. So. Or a meanderings if and when we get back to doing those.
Which I think we will. Which I think we will as well. So
yeah, cool.
Not straight away, but I think we'll get back to some meanderings as well.
Yeah. Just maybe once a month will be the deal. Oh, and I'm spending a lot more time on the on creating clips as well. So the clips should improve. I tried actually the AI one of the AI things that either you sent through or someone else. It was hilarious how it titled and labeled things. So I did it of the one with the Pete episode, which is really great because Pete's he's able to cover so many topics really quickly, and he doesn't and much. So you can create really good clips from that. And basically, you throw it in this thing, it does whatever it does, and then it'll give you 15 clips, and they're usually longer. They're 30 seconds to a minute, but all of them had names like the shocking truth behind XXX, and it was there was probably like 5 or 6 shocking truths that
keep coming up. There's like shocking truth about this.
Yeah, I'm trying to just bring it up as we speak. And here we go. So it was opus.pro is what I used. Okay. And yeah, basically you don't even have to upload it. You can just give it a link to the YouTube video. And so here we go. The instructions, blah, blah, blah. So, uncovering the shocking truths of parenting, persuasion, and AI experimentation. The cutthroat world of millionaire influencers uncovered. You won't believe it. The surprising reason why some singers rarely get sick. Unleashing childhood power. What happens when children have control? Uncovering the shocking truth about financial advice YouTube channels.
Look, I'm up for that. It sounds enticing. It does sound enticing. Better than what we would come up.
They're great. They're great names. They are also not reflective of what was actually
fantastic.
coming out.
Was actually discussed.
And when you have 15 shocking truths titles and you're going to post them back to back, it's very much losing its power. So there was only really one of them which I was like, I think this was great. For example, he'd be talking, and one of the cool things about this is it can even include little emoticons in. So it creates the clip, it creates the subtitle text, and it does it in white and yellow and different colors and whatnot. And even for certain words, it'll come up with a little emoticon of like power or money or something like that. And Pete was talking about this one section of really making like fun of people who are creating money or getting money in these certain ways or something. And the little emoticon was the smiley face with dollar signs, and it was just so inappropriate for what the context of what was being talked about. So the AI stuff is cool, but it's still gonna need some fine tuning.
Okay, it's not replacing the human just yet. Not replacing the human just yet.
Not at all.
Okay.
Do you want to?
There you go.
Do the little value for value spiel before we
Absolutely, yeah. Look, I'll give it to you all, folks. So obviously, you talked about the Boostagrams, and we went through the Boostagram Lounge. Karen talked about it in depth there. But what we're trying to do here, we're value for value, which means we're trying to provide value to you in the form of this podcast, right, through the audio or video, whatever you're watching it at home. And the hope is that you send through some value back. For us, that means sending through Satoshis through any of the platforms out there that enable you to send Boostagrams or streaming sats through podcast platforms. So that's Fountas, there's Podverse, there's Castomatic. You can obviously listen to us on various other platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, etc. But we do want to see the support coming through in that front. And look, we've been seeing it now in the last couple of weeks, but there's also been periods where we didn't have that. What we want to establish is we want to be providing enough value back to you, mere mortalites, so that you are providing it back in that way. And we do really, really appreciate it being through in those Satoshis, which is a fractional Bitcoin amount. Again, as Karen mentioned, we're trying to make it easier for you to support us, to help us out. If you have been doing so already, amazing. If you want a hand in terms of, you can't, maybe you're interested, you really want to support, but you can't, and you want to personalize help, look, we'll give you a white glove service. We've done it before with a couple of people. Send us through some messages, emails, whatever it may be. We're happy to help out. But those are the primary ways you can help out for
and
the
podcast. You send in 100,000 sats, and that is we will send a t-shirt your way, as I was explaining. Mere Mortals t-shirt, it's pretty schmick. It's actually it's a good t-shirt. I like it. It's I try and not wear it too much because I don't want to wear it out, to be honest.
Yeah, you want to wear it out.
Yeah. The cost of that at the moment is probably about 40 Australian dollars. And that is just with the Bitcoin price. Now, if Bitcoin price goes up, we're not going to be lowering it. So
no, correct. We're keeping it at 100,000 sats. So if you want to get in quick,
it's just an incentive for those who support early. You can get the thing, you can get the prize, you can win, but without having to actually spend as much. So,
and I'll take a leaf out of Bobby Hundreds as well. This is a limited edition. First
we won't recreate this one.
We're not going to recreate it. We're not reprinting it. None of that.
Yeah.
So if you get into it, you get it right at the beginning.
I'd say there's
never again with that run.
15 shirts left, if I had to guess.
There you go. Yeah. So if you want any of those 15 remaining ones, make sure you're sending it through. If not, they'll never be created again.
And make sure you're a medium or large, or because we don't have that many other
size left. Exactly. All right, me more or less, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us for Musings. Thank you for welcoming me back to the podcast, and thank you for Karen to keeping the sails afloat and the wind in our sails for the last couple of weeks. So thank you very much, Karen. Thank you very much for everyone else listening at home.
My pleasure, man.
The Immortalites, that is all. Juan out.
Karen out.
Good.
Nice.